Hey guys, so I've just had a few questions about the Relentless Currency Strength Indicator. I'm going to give everybody access to it. So if you've already got these other three, you're going to see this fourth one come up in your list. It's going to be in your indicators section, invites only scripts, and you'll see it here. So I was just asked a question around how you know um, which one's the strongest kind of in the pair, what that actually means, which direction it's going in. And I have covered this before in some of the basic sessions. So um, we'll take an example at the moment. So if we've got which one's the strongest? So JPY at the moment is the strongest, and we're looking at CAD being the weakest. So if we look at our pairs where we've got CAD JPY, CAD comes first, right? So you've got CAD first, and then you've got JPY second. So at the moment, we're saying that the JPY is much stronger than the CAD. We can see that it's lower. It's not going to leave my things on over the top there, but hopefully you can see that. So CAD's at the lowest and JPY is at the highest. So in this case, strongest is here, and this will be weakest. So what does that mean in this pair? Well, the whatever comes first in the pair determines kind of which direction price is going to go in. So this is the weakest, which means the CAD JPY should be going down because the CAD is getting weaker, and because CAD's getting weaker and JPY is getting stronger, that's going to push price lower. If this was the other way around and CAD was stronger and JPY was weaker, then we would be looking at price pushing up. So what all you really need to remember is it's whatever comes first in the currency pair drives the direction of that pair. So like I said, it's a bit of an unusual one that we've picked because CAD is weakest and CAD comes first in this pair. But because it's weaker, that's what's going to drive the pair. So we're going to be looking at the pair coming down. If we take a different example, so let's say we had, now let's say USD was the strongest and CAD was the weakest. So we'll go CAD over here and we'll go USD is the strongest here. So let's then just shift these around. So this time we've got a strong USD and we've got a weak CAD. We can see that here. So if we were to look at a chart for this is on the 1 hour chart as well at the moment. So we've got a strong USD and a weak CAD. So we should expect to see that the price action on the USD CAD chart should be going up. So if I just go to USD chart, there you go. You can see the price has just been coming up and up and up over the last few hours. So that's how this works. If I was to go to CAD JPY, like we said, that should be coming down because we had a weak CAD and we had a strong JPY pushing price down. So that's how you determine which direction prices are probably going in from your currency strength indicators. And the thing with them is you can't just use them kind of in isolation. They're really good to give you an idea of what's going on. Um, and in terms of price action and stuff like that. But what the thing with this indicator is it'll work on whatever time frame you're on. So at the moment, this is giving us the data based on the 1 hour chart. This is saying on a 1 hour chart, this is where price is. So again, it's going to be reflective. Like there, I've just gone to a USD CAD on a 1 hour. If I go to a USD CAD on a daily time frame, that might not give me the same picture. Whereas if I go to the daily chart, so I've just clicked daily at the top. Now my currency strength has changed a bit, so you can see that here. So my strongest on the daily is actually the New Zealand dollar, and the weakest we've got is the euro. Not my masses. So you got euro and you got New Zealand, and in this pair, euro comes first. You'll see on the right hand side we've got euro, New Zealand. So euro's the weakest, NZD is stronger. So if we were to go and look at the Euro New Zealand daily chart, then what should we see? So if the Euro's strong, sorry, it's weaker, isn't it? If the Euro's weaker, let's put that on. All right. Because it's first in the pair, we should see this coming down. So if we go to the Euro New Zealand chart, you can clearly see over the last few days, price has been coming down. And like I said, if I go to a 15, we might see a bit of a different picture because it's just not representative. Price has been coming up, but this is where you can use the daily strength chart, daily currency strength meter to give you a bit of a helping hand in terms of what's going on. So it might be whether you're doing top-down analysis, it might just help you think, okay, well, Euro New Zealand on a daily is coming down. What's it doing on a H4? Again, it's still in the same kind of direction on a H4. You've got a weaker euro, a stronger New Zealand dollar. What's it doing on a 1 hour? So this is where you might be thinking, okay, well, maybe euro's a bit stronger than New Zealand on the 1 hour. So you're waiting for them to catch up and flip round because then it'll be in line with what you think is going on the higher time frame. This might be giving you a nice sell opportunity now to catch up with it. So that's how you can use these indicators. The other thing I want you to think about is if you've done any of the classes with me where I've talked about the RSI and divergence and stuff, let me just get rid of that, is this works like, if you think of the percentages, it works like the RSI. So when prices start to get to those extreme levels where they're either massively oversold, so that would be 80 plus, and we do start taking paying attention around 70. So if you were to see on here, right, USD is at 70, for example, obviously that's showing that the USD is really strong. But also what you should be thinking of is actually it's coming into that territory where it might start to change strength a little bit and start to weaken because it's coming into those extreme levels. So same when you see a currency start to hit 30, uh, which I actually saw earlier today on CAD. So let's have a look at CAD today. So CAD was around 30, around 12ish, something like that. Uh, I'm on the wrong chart, that's why I was thinking that doesn't make sense. Let me just go on USD CAD. So CAD was around 30-ish, around like these kind of levels, and you can see that CAD has started to gain strength. So it started to drop a little bit, but we're still waiting just for that complete switch over to happen. We want CAD to start showing stronger than the USD on this 15-minute chart for that to start taking off. Doesn't mean you can't take the trade yet, but what I'm saying is CAD started to get into that territory where it was around the 30 level. But again, what you want to be aware of is that, say this was at 30-ish and you're expecting, okay, it might start to reverse, especially if you start hitting 25s in terms of the weaker levels. That'll be 75 at the other end. 25, 75. Sorry if I'm not explaining that very well. But that's basically what you want to think of. So if you start hitting 70, 75, that would have been quite a really strong currency. And that's when you might start to see it just changing a little bit, pulling back into a bit of a more even kind of level. And likewise, the lower end of that is going to be your 30, 25 levels. That's where you're potentially going to start to see them struggling to get lower, start to recover a little bit, is what I'm trying to say. But what could also happen, and we talked about this the other week, is you could get like distribution. So what you could see, so here we had like CAD was at like 30. So again, I'm expecting, okay, CAD's at 30, which means at some point you expect that it could just gain a bit of strength to give us this little bit of a sell down on USD CAD. But what could happen is price could just, you see how it started to get to a bit of more of an even middle ground level. It's at 46 now, but price hasn't really dropped off that much or like we expected. Um, so now you could just see a bit of distribution, which will just do this until it decides what it wants to do, and then you could see carry on because what that does is it just evens out the kind of money between the buyers and the sellers in and around those levels. So sorry if that's gone a little bit too complex, but I wasn't too sure what level people were at and how much detail people wanted. But the main principle of this is thinking about what comes first in your currency pair. Is that stronger than the thing that comes second in the pair, or is it weaker? And that's what's going to drive the direction of those. And obviously, if you're sitting around that middle level, like around the high 40s to like say 45, 55s, you're going to see that they might just be quite even. So that's why we're starting to look for those that are maybe just tipping the scales a little bit more around that 40, 60 level. You're going to see a bit more of a clearer direction, is what I would say. So if they're quite close together, then it could quite easily turn at some point in either direction really. So that is how you use the currency strength meter, and I will make sure that everybody has got access to that. If you haven't, you need to go to the TradingView indicators section on the website to request access.